their time on the internet, and as a result of posting this video, he received a strike. YouTube took it down due to nudity and sexual content because of a poorly photoshopped cucumber next to the person's mouth.
YouTube is fucking dog shit with DMCA and these sorts of fucking restrictions. They will regularly use the vague nature of terms of service violations in an effort to clamp down on political messaging all the fucking time. Famously, if you remember, the video that I had, where, what was I talking about? Like, what the fuck was it? It was like, do gay people exist or something? Like, I did a YouTube video about Republicans. I did a YouTube video about like Republicans. Oh, no, COVID. Was it COVID? It wasn't about, was it about gay people? I don't know. Basically, it was one of those fucking YouTube videos where like, it was one of those fucking YouTube videos that was like straight up about, dear conservatives, gay people exist. Okay. That's what it was. And immediately they were like, bam, blammo, you're done. We're just not going to let you fucking monetize that video. I was like, that was bullshit.
Who the video was about. That seems like a pretty drastic over-enforcement of the rule. If they really found it to be highly sexual, it should have just resulted in limited ads as opposed to a full strike on the channel. Like, I've eaten a banana in a video before, and now I'm starting to sweat. Like, what might happen to me? It just really felt like one of those moments that was a full-blown mistake, and we've seen it a million times in the past, where the YouTube bots controlled by Skynet malfunction and issue a strike at random by accident, and then it's overturned shortly thereafter. However, the appeal was rejected within, I believe, 30 minutes of the Ackman submitting it, a manual rejection, which means someone with a pulse supposedly looked at it and still said, yep, that shit's staying off the platform. We're putting the kibosh on it right now. So then it became a little bit fishier. Why? The reasoning just doesn't make any sense. It's not like he uploaded Mr. Hands or Two Girls, One Cup in his video. It's a tiny, tiny, tiny piece of an hour-long video that had something that is slightly sexual and by all definitions pretty inoffensive. Almost no one's gonna look at that and be like, holy shit, cover your eyes. Oh my lord, he's going too hard. He's going hog wild out there. It's just not the most sexually explicit thing in the world. Even if they're going full Weenie Hut Jr. mode here, it's still pretty tame by those definitions. Like, it just didn't make any sense. I also think this highlights another shortcoming YouTube's had since the beginning of time, where if a single minuscule piece of a video is a problem, they strike the whole video. They take the whole thing down instead of just letting you yourself remove that piece, that insignificant little piece, that 2 or 3 second little problem zit. Why not just let the creator pop it? YouTube has a built-in editor where you can take things out. So why not just alert the channel like, hey, the video is fine, but there's this one part that's a problem. If you want to keep it in, it's going to get age restricted or you're going to get a strike, but you can take it out and nothing will happen. We're letting you know you have 1 week to take it out. Every single channel would elect to take it out. Like in Ackman's case, if they just told him the cucumber Photoshop thing is a problem, I'm certain he would have used the editor to just take it out of the video. Problem solved, and then there's no issue. And that saves YouTube a lot of trouble as well, because that completely avoids the ensuing shitstorm. Why not just let us use the editor to take out the problem? It's something that I also pitched to Susan, the CEO of YouTube, when I talked to her.
Damn, motherfucker knows Susan on a first name basis? Flex, dude. Fucking flex, king. Absolute flexer, bro. Are you joking? I pitched this to Susan, who I'm best friends with.
She thought it was a great idea, as did the policy head. That was 2 years ago. When is it coming? But anyway, in his anger, he turned to the dark side and committed the sin that every YouTuber is guilty of. He went to Twitter to start a shitstorm, to finally force a real answer out of YouTube, to finally get an actual response and real action from the company. But unfortunately for Ackman, he ended up with YouTube's cucumber in his mouth. They responded to this by age-restricting 2 videos of his that were completely unrelated, and then just hitting the speedrun any % record for appeal rejections by slapping it down in 30 minutes. So, needless to say, the Twitter action wasn't super effective for Ackman, but this was only the beginning. because as of 2 hours ago, YouTube wasn't done huffing and puffing. They blew his whole house down. They demonetized Ackman's entire
this makes no sense.
leaving him ineligible for future monetization. This is essentially being fired from his job, all without ever getting a single explanation as to why. It just happened. So this seems like a complete failure on YouTube's part here, and everything that resulted after the initial strike was done in pure pettiness. There's one more thing I'd like to talk about, and it's a little unrelated to the exact Ackman situation, but it has to do with the way YouTubers get YouTube's attention directly. As you've noticed throughout the entire history of YouTube, every time there's a problem, people go to Twitter to talk about it, and vent about it, and tag YouTube in it. And the reason for that is because for most channels, that's the only means of getting a response from the company.
100%. 1,000,000%. Even if you have a YouTube partner, like I have a YouTube account manager, you know what I mean? Half the time, actually, to be fair, my YouTube account manager is pretty nice. I'm not going to shit on him. Never mind. I take it back. I was about to say half the time it's like easier to get fucking answers directly and like push YouTube by like, whipping up people. But I do have a nice account manager. But like JCS also has problems with YouTube as well. I don't even think he has an account manager. It's fucked up. It's fucked up though.
Do you know how fucking pathetic that is? To have people like Actman, who are essentially employees, having to go on Twitter and publicly whine about their boss? That's so demoralizing. Having to grovel at their feet, cry and beg for just a little scrap of information as to what's going on, and if they can...
Ackman is the same guy who was tweeting stuff like, what's the big deal, guys? What about BLM in the summer riots while the Capitol was being stormed on January 6th? So it's almost like karma. Okay, so here's the thing. I don't think this Ackman dude is a good guy. Okay? It seems like he's not a good guy. Except it doesn't really matter because you can still be fucked over, okay, by YouTube as a content creator. Regardless of how reactionary your perspective is, especially if your reactionary point of view is not necessarily the main focus of your content, and your reactionary point of view is not like Steven Crowder. Okay? Why? Because if someone has like fucking idiotic baboon-like reactionary fucking takes, but their content in and of itself is not about that at all, even if he's not a fucking good guy, ultimately he should still get a fair shake under the YouTube structure, especially if he's not fucking